Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session. So in front of Bosch Digital, it is our pleasure to represent our topic today. So just for a kickoff information, Bosch is not new with the topic at all. So we represented our data lakes topic at the same conference last year. So let's have a quick overview of what is going on in the company, our journey, our evolution with the product, and maybe just a few words about ourselves before we deep dive to the topic. So my name is Predrag, with over, let's say, 18 years experience with data platforms, starting with ERP, data warehousing, data lakes, advanced analytics, and nowadays data science. I'm currently at the position of cloud tech lead in the Bosch, responsible for technical aspects of data mesh concept, and in the same time, I'm responsible for maintaining and building cloud excellence within the company. So many thanks for our PSO, Simeon, for joining this session.
Hi, I'm Simeon. So to answer your question, today in the morning I'm quite excited to have this talk in front of all of you. So thanks for being here. As I said, I'm Simeon. I'm the product owner of our enterprise data mesh. So at the end of the day, Predrag is the one doing the work. I'm just doing the slides. Just kidding, but I'm overall responsible for the whole topic of Red Lake, and now we are on the evolution to Redmesh. And yeah, with this, I just want to have a short introduction, who we are, what is Bosch Digital. So we are the central service and product provider for the complete Bosch group. And the complete Bosch group has over 400,000 employees, which is an incredible number if you ask me. And as you probably know, Bosch is basically doing everything from automatic driving over power tools to like washing machines. So it's really like, I think in one article I read, it's this German Amazon, which is probably kind of true. Bosch Digital, as I said, central service and IT provider. We have a service volume of over 1.8 billion, and we grow quite a lot to over 10,000 associates. As we follow our customers, we are now represented in 53 countries, and we have over 74 nationalities on board, which is, I think, shows that we are a very diverse company and trying to, of course, scale all the topics of data digitalization for complete Bosch.
Thank you, Simon. So let's crunch into the topic, our journey, our experience.
So as a starting point, I think we all have been on the very left side here with the local databases, and at some point it was pretty clear that this will not really work out if you want to build up a data-driven enterprise. So what we started is we began to build up a central data lake, which you can see on the right side, as a centralized and standardized platform. But it's pretty obvious, I already told you how big Bosch is, that there can't be one data lake, but in fact we have several. And we have to kind of face the reality here that we will not bring everything on one platform, because we really saw some major impediments here that we want to overcome in the future.
Yeah, and this is exactly the hook between the past and the thing where we strive to go. So just digression, I would like to ask a few questions right now. So how many of you is experienced with data warehousing at all? Great information for the continue of this session with data lakes. Yeah, and now one interesting question from our side. How many of you has any kind of experience, know-how about data mesh concept itself? Okay, so let's make a deep dive into that topic. So before we mention what we did with the data mesh concept itself, just to mention few impediments that we faced in our journey. So with data lakes, we are already well matured. But what happened there, as in enterprise companies, you can expect some kind of siloed data, a lot of multiplications, so everyone will get stick to the data lake, say this is a great, cool, new thing, we all want that, and you are about to get degrees of your performance, scalability, and everything from that perspective. So we need some kind of change. So data mesh itself is not plug-and-play solution. It is a concept. So we will not turn the lights over the night and tomorrow we will stick and plug-and-play new solution. No, we are trying to keep the healthy part of our system and to get the best from data mesh principles. And in coming slides, we will talk about our implementation itself. Just to mention that it is not concept in Bosch. We have very good and nice things ongoing and some of them already in production. So this is a real life story. In the meanwhile, between some kind of data siloing, you have a people, you have a team, you have expertise siloing. For example, in order to bring one service request for data, you have to talk with onboarding, replication teams, 10 teams, let's say, in a row. So we are trying to consolidate things here. When you read about data mesh, you will find different definitions of that. So it is not about decentralizing things again. Healthy things should be grouped, unified, and some things has to be broken and decompiled from the current situation. Having that said, I would like only to mention one thing there. For example, technology expertise. If you have that much centralized IT team, everything will be expected from your side. For example, they can say, hey, Predrag, we are doing some kind of Python coding. We need support with that and that library. In Databricks, something like this. We were doing with Delta file formats. They will say, hey, give us this type of time traveling and so on. So we are there to support, but we are not gods for everything. So the idea here is to, let's say, group the things that we can and to, let's say, decompose the things we should. I have one just real life example here. I like and enjoy running, Simeon cycling. We are talking about data lakes. So let's find a swimmer here, maybe to bring up some triathlon team to get the synergy from our, let's say, current solution. So I would like just to touch the theoretical aspects of data mesh. You will find this in any, let's say, official documentation. But let's stick to the 4 pillars of data mesh. Definitely domain ownership. In other words, hey guys, let the responsibility for the data to the people who knows the data best. IT cannot know the data better than business itself. Then data as a product. People who know me during my career know that I would say, hey, give me proper data, useful data, meaningful data, with metadata, with data dictionaries, even in Notepad. I don't care about technology. This is it. Don't try some AI things firstly and so on, buy 2 million euros software and come up and end up with nothing. Okay, so federated governance, Simeon will mention it in deep dive. So let's have local rules on the domain level, in department and business level, and some global rules. Hey guys, we are trying to do the things this way in our company. And at the end of the day, self-service. We are here to enable. We are not building everything like traditional IT. So customers will make solutions and get the best from the data. So the overall idea is that we get best from the data, from the value perspective, best from the people, and give the best to the company. So this is something that we are trying to do here. And I would ask Simeon to go through the 4 main concepts.
So thanks, Predrag, for just introducing the 4 data mesh principles. But I want to show you a little bit how we implement them at Bosch, what our approach is. So let's start with the data domains. And for the data domains, if you ask me, there are 2 like natural dimensions you can organize them in. And one of them is the process itself, and the other side is the business itself. So as you see on the slide, with the business domains, we want to have a clear ownership of data in a data product. So it should be really clear who is owner of the data, who is responsible also of it. And then, of course, give these people a maximum of flexibility and autonomy to drive the business. As I said before, there are two dimensions, and as we are a German company and as we are really big, we made it as complicated as possible. So we have our governance structured in the process dimension, but of course, the money is made in the business. So we came to the conclusion that we need a matrix organization. As you can see here, we have finance, we have automotive, we have sustainability, logistics. Obviously, automotive is business, finance is process-oriented, so we need both. We need a representative of both, because both add a value to our data mesh concept. All of this, of course, works on a self-data platform, which we'll have a look on later, and is enabled by our central services that we, as Bosch Digital, provide to them. Let me quickly touch the topic of a data product, because this is really a core principle, if you ask me, of the whole data mesh approach. So the main question is, what is a data product? And I could not find like a really self-explaining definition in the literature. So we had to come up with our own together with our colleagues from the central architecture team, and we brought it down to these 5 points. I don't want to go into details of each and every of these points, but it's pretty clear that you need some kind of business value that is related to it. So if you look at the example of the stock quantity in a warehouse, of course, if you analyze them, you can generate business value out of it because you take better decisions. You have to implement them. I think that's pretty clear. And what I want to talk a little bit about is the point 4, the contract, because with the data product, there comes some kind of spec sheet. So how often is data updated, for example? What do we do if there is a mistake in the data? What is data quality? Who owns the whole thing? So that's really important, especially if you're thinking about a large enterprise. And last but not least, you need a central place where you can access the data and search for it. The federated governance. Just as a short motivation, because the whole topic, if you ask me, is one of the most complex in the whole data mesh concept. So for us, it looks like we have the Bosch global governance that kind of gives the central direction of where we want to go. And on the very bottom of the page, as Predrag already mentioned, we want to give a maximum flexibility and autonomy to the data domains. So means they can also make their own rules. But obviously, we don't want to create the wild, wild west. And this is why we need the layer in the middle, which are the Redmesh global rules. And they should be there to ensure interoperability of the different domains, not only when it comes to the technical implementation, but also, for example, data consumption patterns, architecture patterns, and to kind of at least align on a tool stack, because you cannot just, as I said, create the wild, wild west and everybody does what he or she wants. This brings me to our last principle, which is the self-serve data platform. And obviously, this is only an overview page because we will dig into it a little bit deeper in the next slides. But I think it's not a secret if I say that we are having both at the moment on an on-prem data lake, and of course we're also on the cloud. So for us, a hybrid approach is still what we need, just because of the circumstances we are working in. On top of them, we have the data domains working on this platform. Data visualization, I think this is pretty well known, and the general rules they're enabling on top of it. What really blew my mind when I took over this role of the PSO of our Redmesh concept is what you see at the left bottom. So at the moment we have over 800 terabytes of data stored on our platforms, and this is really increasing quite rapidly. For our enterprise data, we have over 36,000 tables replicated near real time to our platform, which is of course good to enable real-time analytics. And the last figure is what really impressed me the most. So I looked in in our like dashboards, and I saw that the data consumption increased from beginning of the year to now by over 200%, which shows the increasing demand for data. And not only data, but data in a business context. I think this is key to success. Okay, having a look at this one, let me go one level deeper and introduce to you how this looks like. So I will start on the very right side with the on-prem, because this is where we have been working in the last years. So we started with the relational data lake, the Red Lake, that was presented already, I think, last year. And we have connected it to our big data and AI platforms that are operated by colleagues of us. But obviously, there is a sync. There are synergies between the two. From a service perspective, obviously, you have to get the data in, which is why we have a data onboarding service. And you have to get the data out. This is why we have a data provisioning service, which is currently available for on-prem and also for cloud data. In the middle, we have the exploration zone, which is quite important if you ask me. So at the end of the day, I don't want to say that it's a playground for the business to play around with data, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. So the idea is to provide data products, to provide data to the business analysts in a quick and easy manner. So if the manager drops by and says, hey, can you just analyze what is happening in our warehouse? Why is the stock so, why did it increase so much? Then somebody has to sit down and analyze it. And this is exactly the place for the exploration zone. As we said in the introduction, Predrag is the specialist for cloud, so I would hand over to you.
Yeah, it is far left and dark blue part. I would like just to mention one real-life example as well from the, let's say, data unification, consolidated governance, and so on. So many people from here, I suppose, have been working in banking, telco, and so on. So has any one of you faced a situation that you have 8 or 10 different definitions for active client, for salary receiver, and so on? Everything is clear. I would not take that much of your time. So this is the idea behind. Let's have the unified business at the end of the day. But we already are at the half of our way, but we need to restructure it a bit. So from the siloed data, siloed teams perspective, we are breaking into 3 zones from the cloud perspective. I say cloud because of scalability, data feasibility, and so on. So you need to easily provide data to the customer. This is the reason for cloud background. And last year, we have been talking about data lake and Delta and data lake house concept. Nowadays, we are trying to save the healthy part of our system. So you will find the various definitions of data mesh. Some authors will say, do not replicate anything. But it is utopia from my side. So data mesh itself says replicate and multiply the data as less times as possible. So we are keeping our central data lake, but it will be repacked, reorganized according to Redmesh, data mesh, principles. So our central data lake will be domain-oriented, will have all business rules applied and so on. And this is the first landing zone of the solution. After that, we give data ownership to our business. So this is the reason for business satellite, for example. They will connect to our data lake and continue refining data, applying technology stack where they are experienced, where they will pay for it at the end of the day. So this is the idea behind. The expertise and the data as a solution is on business side. And as a data mesh, as a solution for entire company, they can share it again within the company. Yeah, so one version of true data definitions, business process definitions are at the business side. This is the background of this slide. So I already mentioned maybe the main thing for business satellites, if our customers need more autonomy approach or they apply some specific technology. For example, some of them are experienced with Databricks, some of them with Synapse Analytics and so on. Snowflake, They can do it on the other cloud platform as well, so they can decide what to do. But I will stick to this one. So the left part is our core, heart of the Redmesh. So we are enablers. And we will provide data to the dark part. You see a bunch of technologies and the customer side. They will pay, they will use what they are experienced most with. And the main thing on this slide is comparison between product and solution. So Simeon already mentioned data as a product. We will enable it. We will give data itself. It will be usable. It will be clean with data dictionaries, with formatted and well-defined metadata. I give you data and you continue building solution on the top of that and get the business value. So we will mention our use cases at the end of the day. I just want to catch up with the previous year. So this is original slide we have mentioned from technical perspective. Yes? So maybe a few most important information, Azure Data Factory as orchestration tool, but more important information for me is that consolidating and collecting metadata information. So we are already, have been preparing something as a data mesh already. We are consolidated data in central data lake and enabling customer using various consumption patterns to access the data. So some of them will say, hey, we need relational data-oriented storage on our side. Okay, use dedicated pool in Synapse Analytics. But it is too expensive for us to host all the things on our side. So we are storage-oriented, and we enable you whether to pull, we can push, you can do virtual file access as you wish. But the cost and the final technology choice is on the customer side. This is the idea behind. And this is the successor of that idea, something that happened in meanwhile between previous session on data science and this something that we are talking right now, is that data modeling idea and some kind of start of Redmesh data mesh in Bosch. This is the part number 2, when we can organize the data in technology agnostic way, but already you see domain specific with a lot of governance rules, with local rules, with global rules. You have with a small font there Bosch IMGs, implementation guides. We have audit at the end of the day all the time at the company. So we started unifying our data, not only data, but the process and the company itself. And this is the point where we can talk about not only data provisioning, but what is the business value, what is the business outcome, what our customer actually do with our data.
So let me give you a short excerpt of what we're doing on the Redmesh currently. And on the upper left side, you see Susan, which stands for Sustainability Analytics Platform, which, in my opinion, is one of the coolest use cases that you can do on such a landscape. So you probably all are aware that from beginning of next year, there is a new EU law, and we have to comply with it. And this is about our sustainability KPIs. At the end of the day, we're building up a reporting application with around 180 KPIs that we have to report monthly to the legislation. But we decided not to stop there, because obviously you can push this further, this idea. And from a legal perspective, it's just an enterprise level, but we thought, what about bringing it down to a product level? How cool would that be? Because then we can steer our business with sustainability. And since these topics are becoming more and more important in our world, this will become a competitive advantage in the next years. On the upper right side, I think all of you heard in the keynote that data quality and data itself, the provisioning of data, is a key to Gen AI. And this is exactly what we're doing here, how we're seeing our position in the company. Because, for example, as a chatbot, you need some kind of back-end system that you can rely on that gives you the information that your chatbot can answer to you. And if you have a centralized platform, like a virtually centralized platform as Redmesh, you can be faster, you can reuse, and you can enable APIs via a central layer. And this, of course, will make it way easier and way cheaper to scale up.
Yeah, and I would like to mention remaining two use cases. At the bottom left, supply chain network control tower. This is some kind of reporting and analytics solution that our customer use to follow up, let's say, products from the, let's say, spare part perspective from end to end. And we save the best for the end, mobility data and analytics. So our customer, for technical perspective, collects other cloud providers' data, data from on-prem, enriched data, and data from our domains. And since we are on the data science conference, they are making predictive models for end of series at the end of the day. So they will replace one line with the other with exact number and information when and how to do that. So this is the business value at the end of the day. So every time we have a step forward, we do always more with our business and customers, and here in Serbia, we would say, Bosch može još. People know what does it mean. Okay, Simeon, some kind of ending verse?
So I will make it quick here, since we already reached the end of our presentation. The four key takeaways that you should take with you from this presentation, hopefully. First one, data mesh is not is an approach as an evolution of data lakes. So we really want to drive it from there, and it enables our customers with more flexibility and autonomy. So this is really where I said we need to give the data to the right people. Second point, data mesh principles need to be implemented in accordance with business and IT environment. So in my perspective, it's really important that you do an analysis, what is already there, what is working, what is not working, and build it from there. Third point, the self-serve data platform, and I hope that we could give you a little bit of an idea of how we are trying to achieve this, with a high degree of automation, is the technical backbone of a data-driven enterprise. And last but not least, the data mesh enables a variety of business cases and creates the foundation for economical success. And with this, I want to end the presentation and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Predrag and Simeon, for this insightful presentation, and most importantly, for the energetic start. Now we have a couple of minutes for questions, if anyone would like to ask questions.
Right now, you can meet us during the entire conference. Yes?
All right, we have a question there. Just a second.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Since you are empowering your business users a lot, I wonder how you are tackling the data literacy puzzle. How to empower them really, like you can throw data at them, but if they are unable to use it.
Can we have 30 minutes more?
No.
At the end of the day, that's probably the question is too big to answer it in like 2 or 3 sentences, right? And the problem is also that our company is so diverse that probably someone working automotive tackles it differently than someone for security systems, for example. But in principle, our approach is, I showed that we have a Bosch global policies, and there is also, it is anchored there that data literacy is part of our data strategy that we're following, with dedicated roles and also then competencies and curriculums to tackle this. So this is kind of driven centrally, but then how the different business units implement it is basically up to them. So we are also having a federated approach there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? All right. As a token of appreciation from the organizing team, Simeon and Predrag, I would like to give you this
Have you deserved that?
certificate.
Thanks a lot.
Please.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.